weirdest free throw rituals in NBA history. With some NBA players having weird rituals that help them succeed. Some others use weird rituals as a way of communicating to their family through the TV. Steve Nash taking the NBA record of the greatest free throw shooter of all time. Whatever ritual Steve Nash did clearly worked. Before retiring at 41 years old, man swept the league with a career free throw percentage of 90%. Aside from the obvious practice, Nash bent into his free throw game. He, like many others, instilled a ritual to keep both his consistency. Nash would often shoot the ball without it in his hands a few times before licking his fingers to comb his hair back, as mentioned. This tended to work out 9 times out of 10. Now, it didn't count out his disadvantages. If Nash had anyway been thrown out mentally from his shot due to some distraction, that's generally when he missed. Nash talked about the art of the free throw, saying, "I try to take all the extra motions out of it in one smooth, fluid motion. When I was younger, I would shoot a lot of them. When I got older, there was just a lot of refining. Sometimes I would do 10 before practice, 10 after practice. If you've done all your homework and you have the right technique, it becomes an ability to believe and to cut out all the distractions and put yourself back in the practice court in the heart of a big moment. Before the referee gave me the ball, I would take 2 if I could practice shots without the ball. I think sports psychologists say now that even better than visualization is actual physical recreation, even without the ball. A Nick Van Exel, and a way to set up the anti-Nick Van Exel, often backed up a foot or 2 from the line before shooting. The move appeared to most to be somehow overconfidence, but as it turns out, it has actually been a method his coach had reinforced. Nick talked about first trying to shoot from 17 feet, singing, "I'm over 3-point shooter than a mid-range jump shooter. When I played for Denver, I would always hit the back of the rim when I missed. It just felt more comfortable for me when I moved a few steps back from the line. So I just stayed back. I've been shooting that way ever since. I just tried it one day in practice, and it seemed to go well. So I told the coaches I was going to try it in a game. It went pretty well, their game, and it just kind of continued from there. While it's certainly chill repetition and strong mentality is key for shooting from any distance, it's especially important for free throw shots. With this in mind, it's no wonder Nick continued the shot after first implemented into his game. Ironically, shooting from the line suddenly would have likely lowered his percentage. Bottom line was, Nick was making his shots for the majority of his time in the NBA, just above or below 80%, which is a whole lot better than what some players can do from 15 feet after life died. Nelson, it's ironic that died. Nelson found himself in a position of coaching where he helped players work on free throw techniques, while he had in fact had none during his playing time for as great of a coach. Nelson went on to become, as a free throw shooter, he was horrible. That's a reference to easily one of the ugliest free throw shots, the sixth this guy should ever have. And while it's technically not a ritual, ignoring it would be straight up century. While lined up at the free throw line, Nelson often twirled the ball in his hand, one time before leaning towards the hoop on his right leg, while his left lashed out into the air. Using his right hand, Nelson launched the ball with the pump from his elbow out to his hands. With you, gotta give him credit for his off-balance of a shot it was. He tended to make them fairly consistently. Alonzo Mourning, better known to the league as a lockdown defender at 16. Alonzo Mourning hadn't been the greatest free throw shooter. Prior to shooting his shot, Mourning can be seen kissing his wrist before raising it to his forehead. Mourning would later go on to admit the ritual had been done as a way to pay tribute to his family. Needless to say, leading a career where he barely cracked 70% from the line tells us the move likely did little to no help. Jerry Stackhouse, while many players tend to carry some sort of low-key rich or prior to taking their shots, Jerry Stackhouse let everyone know about his, but only because it was so obvious. Prior to shooting his shot, Jerry would crouch all the way down to a level that just seems downright uncomfortable before shooting. With a career free throw percentage of 82%, it may not have been as ridiculous as it looks. The technique came from not a coach, not a sports psychologist nor player, but his own mother. Backlund Jerry had been shooting 70% from the line. His crouch technique had only been used when he cared to remember. Every time he gets a free throw shot, it often hear a reminder from his mother, who sometimes attended his games, saying, "You didn't bend your knees." The reminder had been enough for Stackhouse to permanently add to his game. Hito Turkoglu talked about Stackhouse's rituals, saying, "I still haven't figured out how Jerry Stackhouse shoots his free throws. He's been so low with both legs, and watching him makes my legs hurt." Rick Barry. No free throw list of any kind will be right without the mention of Rick Barry. Before they had been Steve Nash, DeBo's crazy free throw percentages in the 90s, there had been Rick Barry, who finished with a career free throw percentage of 89%. Having played in the 60s, Barry had come into the league during a time when the books on free throw etiquette had not existed. Prior to shooting, Barry dribbled the ball 3 times before placing the ball between his legs for under-the-leg toss into the basket. It was clearly effective. In fact, his former free throw had been the only style used for free throws in the 30s. That had been until players began adopting the more traditional free throw shot we see today. Sometime after, to give you an idea on how much of a stud Barry had been with his shot, take a look at how he trained Golden State teammate George Johnson on his free throws. Prior to taking up lessons with the once go-to free throws, Johnson, with his traditional style of free throws, shot at just 53% for his first 2 years in the league. After meeting with Barry before games and during practices, his free throw percentage increased to his highest, 80%. Using the hole under the leg technique makes you wonder, if we'll ever see the shot come back to the league today. If you like more videos, hit that subscribe button.